Halito everybody and welcome back. This is CT over at the NYC Indian, and today we're going to be reviewing Love After Lockup, What Are You Hiding? This is going to be brought to you from an urban Native American perspective, a mixed perspective, and a secular perspective. So let's dive right on. So we start the episode with Taylor and Chance, and Bobby has left the building. She's mad at her sister because basically she's taking her side, or taking Chance's side over her, and letting Chance talk all this BS about her. Now, I do agree with the whole babysitting situation. That was horrendous. You do not, like, if you're just not going to watch them, doesn't matter whether you're mad at your sister or not, if you're just not going to watch the kids, it's just neglect. You should not, you just shouldn't even agree to watch them. So it seems like Chance is getting a little bit remorseful because now he's realizing that, even though I feel like she's not a good babysitter, she's still a warm body in the house that can keep, two eyeballs on the kids, which now he's having to do, right? That's what he means by, oh, I realized all the stuff she did around the house. He's starting to get a little taste of that. Because remember, he was saying, like, kind of hinting around to the fact that he didn't really like the fact that she had kids. I could have been with anybody, but I chose her even though she had kids. So, the sister's like, okay, I'm gonna stay. She gets her on speakerphone, and the sister says, I don't like the way you guys are talking. I can hear you through the walls. I don't like the way he's acting. You need to treat my sister better, blah, blah, blah. And she said that she's gonna wind up staying at a friend's for a few days. And Taylor, she's upset because she's like, oh no, she's gonna relapse. And the sister, Bobby, is basically very codependent onto her sister Taylor, because out of all the other things she has going on, she's not an addict. Okay, so that's the difference. And between, I think Bobby and Chance's attitude needs some improvement, because Taylor is the one sitting here footing the bill for these adults and the kids, and she's basically running a halfway house, right, for felons. I mean, everybody's relying on her. So, I mean, he seemed to be changing his tune. He did apologize to Bobby, which he should have done. But I still feel like it's very inappropriate for him to be in that house. How come it is that two people that are on parole are not supposed to hang out? There's some kind of laws against that or something, but there's no protection for children to protect them from women who just randomly meet men off of prison pal websites and bring their, these men home to their kids. Why is there no protection for them? That I do not understand. All right, so next, who do we have? Oh, Chaz and Branwen. Oh my God. So listen. He's picked her up. They change into their little nuptial jumpsuit sweat outfits or whatever. And she is in, so the prison is in Oregon, but he lives in Kentucky. So in order for her to be able to leave Oregon, she has to either have, she has to be married or like a direct family member or something. So that's why she's marrying him, so she can get out of there, stack up some cash, and then probably eventually get out of, just leave him. So at first I'm like, last week I was like, she's a pretty woman. That is a pretty woman. And I mean, to be 40, she hasn't aged bad at all, okay? And she's not like, heavily melanated or anything. She looks good. I will give it to her. I don't know, I guess prison, was like, okay for some people, like on their skincare regimen or whatever, because she's looking pretty good, I have to say. I would never see her walking down the street and think, oh, she's been incarcerated for the past couple of years. And then she starts going into her history of incarceration, and apparently she's been in since she's 18. And she did, what, an 11-year stint the last time, or one of those times or something like that. But so I was thinking, okay, she did some like identity theft or some kind of fraud or something. She messed up. She got arrested. She's in there for 3-4 years, whatever. She's, hopefully learned her lesson and out of there. I didn't realize she was a career criminal. So then that started to make me think some other things. All right, okay, she's a pretty woman and she's been in this crime life for a while. Maybe she's had some other professions. I don't know. We'll just leave it at that. All right, so now Chaz is all concerned about this guy, Aaron. And I'm thinking, I feel like Aaron should be the last of your worries. Like, you need to be worrying about, like, how you're going to get her, because she has to do the halfway house and she's going to be on parole, and like exactly, the logistics of moving her to Kentucky and getting her reestablished, and you actually keeping a wife this time because you've lost so many, with the exception of the wife who passed away. That's a different situation. But, that's 3 other divorces other than your it's too much. So they get to the wedding, or right before they get to the wedding place, he's leaning over, he's trying to kiss her, and you know me, I am always like this with the body language. I want to see how people are reacting to one another. And the way he kept trying to kiss her, he's so excited, and she's like, no, it's a little bit much right now, it's just a bit much. And she's like trying to be nice, like gently let him down, but I was like, yep, there it is right there. Listen, not that I thought that she would be into him to begin with, but she was really talking a good game about like how she really wants to start her life over and stuff like that, and I still do believe that. But I think that it's going to be one of those situations where, you know, he's going to have to get used to the fact that basically she's gonna call the shots. She's probably not gonna sleep with him. Maybe she'll sleep with him once or something like that. He doesn't seem like he would divorce her, like if she, you know, wasn't giving him enough or something like that. So I think, you know, she is trying to get into a better life, but, you know, she's using him as her soft, gentle landing pad, all right? And I'm not saying she's totally scamming him, because she is married, but not that, you know, scams can involve marriage, but, you know, I think that she probably thought it was going to be a little bit more chemistry when she got out, but yeah, it really wasn't. And I mean, that Kool-Aid smile line that goes from ear to ear with that bad hair transplant, that is just enough right there to kill it for me. But anyway, they get there to some beautiful spot off of a bridge, and they had the officiant there, and then they get married. And I was like, oh my God, this really happened. Like, we usually don't get to see it like that fast, right? So they're driving and stuff, and now she has to go see her PO to find out what the limitations of her parole status are going to be or whatever. And the PO tells her that she's going to have a 6 p.m. curfew, and she's paroling to her best friend's baby's daddy's place, which is also her friend. And so I'm assuming he's in Oregon, because she said that her best friend lives in Vancouver, Washington, and that's way up there by the Canadian border. So I'm like, okay, that kind of makes sense. He's from Oregon, you know, the boyfriend's from Oregon, the best friend's from Washington, and, you know, things didn't work out. But I'm like, okay, so she's going to go stay with the best friend's baby daddy. All right. I'm not saying anything because I haven't seen him yet. You know, who knows? He might, you know, well, I was going to say maybe he's not that good looking, but then again, what if he opens the door and he winds up being some 6 foot tall Adonis, right? That would be too much. But, yeah, so now they're like at his place, or what is her new place, or the best friend's, I don't know the guy's name, but anyway, it's her new temporary home, and they're laying on the bed, and that guy must have like a bunch of cats, because when she rolled over, all you saw was all this cat hair up and down her sweatshirt. I was like, oh my God. And, you know, Chaz is trying to get in some smooches and, like, you know, suggesting bubble baths and stuff like that. And she's like, oh yeah, no. You can tell she's turned off. And finally she tells us that she thought that the connection was going to be a little bit more there, but it wound up not being. So we know she's not into him. So we're going to see how she navigates this. Is she just going to take him to the cleaner? And you know what, if she does, I don't really even blame her. Like, how stupid could he be? Like, I mean, if you can't get a woman like that on the outside, why do you think you can get a woman like that on the inside? And then with your track record of marriages, and think that she is not going to like completely steamroll you? I mean, if you've made that kind of arrangement, then again, that's a different story. But if you're trying to go in for all this true romantic love, I don't like people who prey on people that are in jail. I mean, I don't like it the other way around, but you understand more from the inmate situation, because, I mean, obviously they want some companionship, they want contact with the outside world, but the people that are seeking these people inside, you have more power, so the power dynamic is different, and I don't like it. All right, so who's next? Okay, Radine and Rick. All right, so the whole family gets in the truck and they go to pick her up because she's finally being released from the halfway house. And, you know, which was an interesting little ride. And, you know, I can tell she's just not as much into him, and she's still really into this girl that's in prison, Kay. And so when they get together for this like family lunch or breakfast or whatever, and they're talking about where she's going to be living, you know, of course the family's like, well, yeah, she's going to be living with us. And remember, when Rick first found that out like a few episodes ago, he wasn't happy about that, and he was hoping he would be able to change her mind. And the thing is that, I mean, I understand Rick's position, because she gave him all this hope while he was in. But she has laid it out clear, though, Rick, since that time. You know what? I told you one, and she literally said, I told you one thing in prison, but now the situation has changed. And It's like, oh, maybe she's trying to play me. She's trying to play. Of course she's trying to play you. She's been playing you. There's a 20-year age difference. Why do you think she's putting all her eggs into a 49-year-old's basket? It doesn't make sense. She's only 29. Anyway, so the dad is like starting to get a little bit pissed now because he's like, don't you understand? She has an addiction, and and she's saying, I want to be able to take care of my dad, and I always want to have him nearby and stuff like that. And I feel like Rick, yeah, she fed you a bunch of BS, but now that you're there, you see how she operates. And you also see her family dynamic. I mean, you can say a lot of things about a lot of people that come out of prison, but her family, they seem to really love her. And now, I don't know what went wrong during her childhood or whatever, but they do seem to love her and to be an open and willing support system for her. So I just think he needs to just let that go. Find somebody else who is free in the free world, and stop wasting all this time on this woman. She doesn't want you like that. And when it's time for her to drop him off, she uses her dad. So they get to the house, and now she drops off the family, and then she gets in her dad's truck and drives Rick back to his place. And she's like, I don't even want to be like spending the night with him. I don't want him to expect anything. And he's like, oh, she's scamming me. Right on. She's scamming me. Like, it's so stupid. Come on, Rick. Grow some, okay? Get rid of this situation. Get rid of this girl and move on. You've wasted 4 years of your life. And, time is more precious when you're a little bit older, right? I mean, when you're in your 40s, we don't have time like that. All right, who's next? Okay, Martell and Kayla. Oh God, what a mess. So apparently everybody's getting out this week, right? They're getting out of their halfway houses or whatever. So it's time for him to get out of the halfway house. It's been 2 months, and she decides to meet up with his cousin at a cleaning supply store, okay? And spends 300 some odd dollars on some cleaning products for this man. If he doesn't take his ass down to the 99-cent store and get some knockoff Mr. Clean and clean up whatever salt grains he found on that stove that he is not paying for after this girl has sacrificed 13 years of her life, I mean, it's just like, I can't be surprised, right? Someone who who spent 13 years, wasted their youth, their fertility, their this, their that. Not to say that she still can't have children, but who wasted all of this. All that money, that $300, she could have put that on her own self. I mean, look, she got her hair done. She spent some money on herself. She could spend that money on skincare. She can spend that money on a wardrobe. She can put that money away into savings. There are more immediate things that she could be doing with her money than spending it on cleaning products for this man. The cousin is like, you know what, hey, he's a ladies' man. I know him to be this, I know him to be that, but, she seems like she'll probably, she says she's like, oh, she's a nice girl, meaning she'll probably put up with him because, apparently the cousin had been in a long-term relationship with someone incarcerated as well. And I was just like, I'm perplexed. The Martell Kayla situation is probably the most perplexing. All right, so let's see. Oh, Tiffany and Kevin. All right. So finally, Kevin's little hoedom is apparently catching up with him because he's getting all these text messages, and she's like, who's texting you? They're just going for an innocent little stroll with the dogs, and she's noticing all this texting going on. So he's like, yeah, I'm still with my ex, and then there's still Kayla. There's a lot of Kaylas on this show, right? Or Kays and Kaylas. I guess that's the blonde hair girl that keeps popping up. So Tiffany was like, oh, we're not doing this, and this is after she was feeling relaxed and kind of getting unwound and feeling, oh, he's treating me well, talking with her friend at the tattoo parlor and everything like that. And even the tattoo artist who was like, you know what, he's doing her arm, he's tattooing, he's like, well, he might be married, It was so funny. I was like, if that was my tattoo, I was like, you need to mind your business. They were not talking to him, but that was really funny. And so finally, she was like, I'm out of here. She took her little rollaway bag and she went around the corner. She was like, I'm done, because she had to like get it out of him to finally admit that he's basically been sleeping around with all these people. And, and he's trying to gaslighting, that's what it is right there, what he did to her when he said, well, what do you mean I got girls? Yeah, well, I don't know about what you're doing. What about this guy that you brought, to bring you home from prison or whatever? She was not sleeping with that guy. So, like, you can't even use that as an excuse. It was like he was sitting there trying to make it seem like it was her fault that he has been talking to other people. Now, I do believe that when you come out of a prison situation, kind of like her friend at the tattoo parlor said, you never know, and you got to explore what his connections are already, because, you know, he's been in the free world, not jail like you have. But, you know, when you sit down and you have that conversation, all he had to do was be like, you know, I've been seeing people up until this point, you know, and if that's all right, you still want to come home, you want to be released at my place, no problem. So, you know, but of course he didn't do that. I don't know why he didn't. He's sitting there saying, you know, oh, I could have anybody. I can have all these women, and they're all looking at me crazy because I'm dating her. And, you know, she wants to trip out because I'm still with them. Like, come on, Kevin. Kevin's just one of them old players. You know, you can't. He's a truck driver, too. And let me tell you, truck drivers, I don't know how it is now, but I remember back when I was like in my 20s and stuff, you used to always hear stuff about truck drivers. Ooh, and those truck stops and stuff, and all the prostitution at the truck stops and everything. So, I mean, that really didn't really surprise me that much. I mean, plus we knew from the very first episode that he was still sleeping with somebody. So that was a mess. Now, who's the last couple? I did Ray Dean and Rick, Martell and Kayla, Kevin and Tiffany, 2 and Chance. Oh, God, Lacey and Antoine. Oh, my God. So, all right, they wake up. It's the next day. You know, he's rating what kind of sex they had. Like, I don't even need to hear that kind of stuff, right? But you get to see a little bit more. Like, he's very immature. Not like a little kid, but he's just, you can tell he has been not paying bills and not doing like regular grown-up man type stuff. And Lacey's trying to kick him into high gear and get him to do that right away. You know, they get a flat tire, and then now she decides to take him over to a dealership. I'm like, a dealership already? The man, he hasn't been out for 72 hours, and you already taken him to help him get a car? I mean, just because he has some stimulus money doesn't mean he has enough for a vehicle. And, you know, without you having to supplement, you know, and make up the difference. So now he's all disappointed because she's got his hopes high because he's thinking he's going to get a car now. He doesn't even have a driver's license. Like, the man hasn't even seen his mother yet, and she's getting him a car. You know, Lacey is a very interesting situation because she was married to her husband for 20 years. And she says, but he was just too serious. So I don't know all the details of what went on in their relationship, but if it's just more of a, like, they were on different pages kind of thing, I mean, to me, is that enough to divorce somebody? I mean, I can see if you were just, you absolutely cannot get along whatsoever. It's completely chaotic and hectic or whatever. I mean, or constant fighting, but I just don't understand. I want more details about why they separated. I mean, because it seems like she just wants another life. She likes the bad boys. She likes the edge, right? Maybe she felt like it was too boring, too milquetoast of a lifestyle she was living before with her ex-husband. And, you know, if you want something with a little bit more adventure, like, why would you get somebody so young, like, pluck them straight out of prison and expect them to go ahead and be in with, like, you know, down with being responsible and stuff right away? That takes years. This Lacey situation, I'm not getting. I'm just not getting it. I'm not getting it at all. And she takes him to the golf course. He's still nervous just to be around people. Like, this is a project. He needs to be with his mom and his grandma. That's who he needs to be with. He does not need to be in this relationship with Lacey. He just doesn't. You know, just like even like his attitude when the car caught a flat. Now I realize a lot of people nowadays do not know how to change tires because we've come to rely on roadside rescue services. But his whole attitude was like, you know, what do you want me to do with that flat tire? Not like, oh, let me get down and try and act like I know what I'm doing, like try and roll up his sleeves and try, you know, or even pretend to see if she had like one of those kits in the back of the car where he could try and pump it up himself. But I mean, I understand he doesn't know about that, but at least, you know, just try and, but because he's not grateful. He doesn't appreciate anything. Now, did you guys notice that he had his mom's name tattooed on his arm? They are very close. I think they're closer than what Lacey initially had thought. I think she's starting to realize it now, and she's got her hands full, and she's talking about babies and marriage. Man, listen, He needs his family and she needs some counseling. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna leave it at that. We gotta wrap up this episode. I will see you guys next week. If you like the episode, please give it a thumbs up, share, subscribe, turn on your notification bell so you know when I'm putting out new videos. I also do 90 Day Fiance, I do the courtship, and I do Married at First Sight, though I didn't do it last week because it was a snooze fest, honey, complete snooze fest. So, yeah, that's it. Take care, stay safe, and chipiso la